This video is going to be a very quick introduction on how to use Vizpak Architecture for Blender. So here I have a very simple scene, which is just a neon sign fixed to a wall with a floor plane below it. And if I just quickly run a cycles preview, you can see what the scene actually looks like. Now obviously at the moment it's not very interesting, so I'd like to add some better textures to really sell the scene. So I'm going to have a brick wall that the sign is going to be attached to, and below it I'm going to have a wooden floor. And I'm obviously going to use Vizpak Architecture for these materials. So let's go to File, Append. And what I've done is I've saved the Vizpak Architecture folder in my favorites so I can navigate to it instantly. And inside that folder there is a file called Vizpak Architecture.blend. So I'm going to double click on that file, and then I'm going to go to the material section, double click on that. Now I can, if I want to, import all of the materials that are in here, but actually I'm just going to select this brick material, and then I'm going to scroll right down to the very bottom, and holding the Control key I'm going to select this wooden flooring herringbone light material, and I'm going to click Append to import both of these materials into the scene. Then I'm going to select the wall object in the viewport, and I'm going to switch to the material tab, and where it says default I'm going to click on the drop down, and I'm going to select the brick material and apply that to my wall, and you can see that updates in the viewport and in the cycles preview. Now straight away I can see that I'm going to want to tweak this material because the bricks are too small. Now all the tiling materials will have a special node that's labeled tiling, so let's just zoom in so you can see what the tiling is set to, and it's currently set to 8, and I'm going to half that so that it's set to 4, and you can see as it updates in the viewport that's a much better size for our bricks. So next I'll select the floor object, and once again in the material tab I'm going to select the wooden flooring material and apply that to the floor, and you can see the viewport and the preview also update. Now in this case I'm actually happy with the tiling of the material, so what I'm going to do is to launch a render to take a closer look. So let's select render image, we just pull the window into the frame, and we'll take a look at the results. And it's a decent start, but the floor material actually has a displacement applied to it, and that isn't really showing up yet. So I'm just going to dismiss this render window, and with the floor selected I'm going to go to the modifiers tab, and I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier to the floor. Now you can see that that's rounding the corners, so I'm just going to change the type of subdivision from Catmull-Clark to simple, and you can see that restores our nice sharp corners. And in the render I'm going to increase that all the way to 6, might just increase it to say 3 in the viewport. With that done I'm going to add a second modifier, which is going to be a subdivision surface once again, but this time I'm going to leave it as Catmull-Clark. And with that done, I'm going to launch another render. And that, as you can see, is giving a much better result. So just remember, if you want displacement to actually show up on your meshes, you'll need to ensure there's enough geometry on them. And if you're using very simple geometry like this plane for example, you'll need to add a couple of subdivision surface modifiers in order for the displacement to actually show up. And so I hope you find this texture pack useful, and happy rendering.